Good evening, all of you, and thanks a lot for joining us today. This webinar has been organized by Moneylife Foundation. So, we are a 10-year-old nonprofit, and our primary goal is to spread financial literacy and help address a wide spectrum of issues that impact us as a consumer. This webinar has been organized based on the repeated demands that we have received from the investors from the Anugrah and Karvi Telegram groups. So we then realized the importance of this subject, and then we were able to put this together on a really short notice. In fact, we started planning for this yesterday, and we are here today. So I think I just wanted to take this chance and thank both our speakers from the NSDL who are here to shed a lot of light on these important issues. So to guide and speak on this important topic, we have with us today Mr. Amit Jindal, the Vice President, and Mr. Vishal Gajjar, the Assistant Vice President at the National Securities Depository Limited. Before I request our speakers to take over, there are a few ground rules that all of you have to follow. We have kept all of you on mute during the session for the benefit of all involved, and we will unmute you specifically only during the Q&A. For optimal viewing, I'm going to request all of you to keep your webinar on speaker mode. This meeting is being recorded, and a copy of this will be uploaded on our YouTube channel, Moneylife TV. During the question and answer session, if you have any questions, then please use the raise hand button option available on Zoom. Also, please feel free to use the chat section to share your comments and questions and observations, but please send it only to the public forum. Do not send it as a private message to anyone. Also, I'm going to request all of you to please keep your cameras switched off during the course of the presentation, except the speakers. That will ensure that the entire recording is seamless. So I think now, without taking too much of your time, may I now request Mr. Vishal Gajjar to please take over. Sir, over to you.
Yeah, hi. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. And first of all, we'd like to thank Moneylife for giving this opportunity to NSDL to participate in this seminar. So first of all, we'll go through the small brief which we are going to take you through about this Karvi account holders issues and concerns they have. And after that, the floor is open for Q&A, and your team also can ask the questions to us and doubts. We'll try to clear all whatever are in our purview of a depository. So obviously a lot of questions, doubts are there recently after this incident where Karvi operations are now going to shut down. So investors have queries, issues and concerns. So let me take you through to the common questions and queries which all you have investors in your mind. So most of the queries, questions we have tried to cover in this, which is shared with your team also. Now, I'd like to share the screen and give the small brief presentation which we have prepared. Now, Karvi Stockbroking Limited, as you all are aware, has recently been shut down due to certain irregularities which is observed by stock exchanges, and the SEBI has also passed order against him in the month of November. Now, initially, stock exchanges NSE BSE has issued the circular regarding suspension and expansion of membership of Karvi as a stockbroker. Now, you all may be aware that Karvi Stockbroking Limited is depository participant DP of depositories in a capacity of stockbroker. Now, as stock exchanges have expelled the Karvi as a stockbroker, now Karvi is ceased to be a depository participant of depository. So subsequently, and having cascading effect of this expulsion, Karvi as a depository participant is also ceased to be a depository participant, and their operations are also now being terminated as a depository participant under the bylaws of depository. So this all recent orders from regulatory authorities, SEBI and exchanges, you might all are aware, so I'll not emphasize on that. These are the recent changes and circulars which are available on website of stock exchanges and SEBI. Now, from the perspective of depository, as I said, now Karvi ceased to be a stockbroker under which he is eligible to be a depository participant, no more longer in place. So we as a depository has terminated the Karvi under the provision of bylaws, business rules of depository, and advised Karvi to close down its depository operation. Now, a lot of questions are there in investors' mind about their demat account, about their securities, the procedure of transfer. So I will take you through all these issues one by one without taking much time. First and the foremost thing, if you are having an account in a Carvi and securities are there in your demat account, how you can transfer it to other demat account? What will happen after the deadline which is given to the investor by depository? How you will get your statement? What will happen to the securities which are there into the pool account? This type of questions we have already received from the team before this webinar. So we have tried to cover all these common questions in our small brief, which I'll take you through. Now, the first and foremost question, procedure for transfer of security. In both the depositories, it is same. If you have account in Carvi, you want to transfer it, you can transfer it your existing demat account with any other depository participant of your choice. Or if you don't have a demat account, you have to open a demat account with another depository participant of your choice. Now, depository participant where you are going to open the account, you have to take care that the account is in the joint name. If it is in joint name in your source demat account in Carvi, and if it is in single name in your source account in Carvi, the target account should also be in single name. So the point is that whatsoever account pattern, if it is joint, single, the same pattern you have to open a new account in a new depository participant, and with this you can transfer it to your new demat account by submitting few required document to ascertain the ownership of your account. Now, as currently Carvi is operational till 31st December, you can submit your document to Carvi branch nearest to you or their HO. Or after that, also your securities are safe. You can transfer it. That I will cover in our later part of the slides. First, as I said, you need to have a demat account, and if you don't have a demat account, you need to open a account. Kindly ensure that the pattern and the account holder remain constant into the new account also wherever you open your new demat account. Now, after opening of account, you have to submit certain document to Carvi till the time is operational, and later on when it comes to the system of depository with NSDL. Currently, Carvi is operational till 31st December 2020, which we have communicated to all the account holders of Carvi. Now, question would be there, what will happen after that? So the answer is that your securities shares which are there in your demat account are safe, and later also you can transfer it to another demat account, as I said, with the new depository participant of your choice. Now, for this, you need to submit an account transfer cum closure form. It is a simple form where you need to give the details of your target account wherever you have opened, along with a copy of client master list duly signed and sealed by the new participant where your account is held. A digital signed CMR is also provided by nowadays by a lot of depository participants. That is also acceptable. Submit a application closing form, that is form 34 in depository parlance, signed by all holders. If the source account in Carvi is in single name, the single account holder have to sign, and if the account is in joint name, all account holder have to sign the form and submit this requisite document for transfer and closure. Securities will be transmitted to new demat account, it will get transferred, and the existing account with the Carvi will close. This would be treated as transfer cum closure form. Your all the securities as per your request, whatever account number you have mentioned along with this document and CMR will get transferred to the new account in a new depository participant, and your source account with Carvi will get closed. So this is a simple procedure. Here the account closure transfer form, CMR, that the account is in your name only, and a form need to be signed by all holders. This is the basic requirement which need to be fulfilled. But obviously investor will have questions that Carvi currently, when you have submitted the request till date it is not transferred or it is under process at Carvi, that we will take one by one. Let me complete the procedure first. Now, all the requests which are there at Carvi, we are closely monitoring it. We are taking the stock of it regularly, that how much pending requests are there, and how much are processed, how much are under process. As you can understand, a lot of requests has been received at Carvi's end also during this last 2 fortnights after the mailers were sent by depository and these regulatory actions taken by the SEBI or circulars were issued by stock exchanges. So a lot of requests are there which are under process. A lot of requests which are received are already being processed. So we are monitoring it on a FIFO basis. Carvi is also processing, and we are also tracking the requests which are in order, and where certain documents are required, we are intimating Carvi to inform to the client to provide the required additional documents. In addition to Carvi's office, the requests which are received, we are also receiving as a depositories complaint, queries, grievances from investors at our end. We are also resolving them on our footing, and we are giving the required details and answering their questions through email and letters to all the investors. If you have any queries, grievances, concerns regarding Carvi or any other depository participant through which you are availing the services, we have a dedicated email ID for which is continuously monitored, which is relations@nsdl.co.in. This is the dedicated email ID where we are communicating with our investors and providing all the required details and assistance to the investors. So here, whatever queries, concern, doubts you have, you can mail it to us on relations@nsdl.co.in. Now, contact, how to get the details, where I can approach this type of questions you have in your mind, which we are going to answer in Q&A. But here, for your information, as I said, till 31st December, you can approach Carvi, and thereafter you can approach depository NSDL for your demat accounts, which are held with DP Carvi as NSDL depository participant. You can approach Carvi for SOT. A lot of requests we have received nowadays from investors that they need to submit the claim in IPF of stock exchanges in their prescribed form, where they require the statement of transaction. Now, for submitting statement of transaction, a lot of requests are received at Carvi. Carvi is processing them and giving them the statement of transaction. Certain requests which are under process or not replied, we are also receiving requests. Here, as a depository, NSDL is also responding to the investors along with the copy of statement of transaction for the period which is requested by investor or from opening of account of the investor on their registered email ID. Yes, this is important. Now, the request for statement of transactions, if they are received from the registered email ID of the investor in demat account, we and our team, we check it, the period, whatever is requested by client, and we are providing to the client investors on their registered email ID. Now the question will come that if my email ID is not functional, not working, for this type of cases, wherever we are receiving requests from some third email ID or client is using some other email ID, here we are responding to the investor in two ways. First, that your statement is sent on your registered email ID, and if clients are requesting that their email ID is not operational or they have not received, in many cases we are sending the statement of transactions and we are dispatching it on the registered address which is there into the demat account of account holders. So a lot of requests we have received in last fortnight, in few hundreds. So what we have done, as per our statistics till yesterday, we have replied to all the requests which we have received till 25th of December, and after that whatsoever is are under process, as we are sending the password protected files to the registered email IDs through campaign. So few requests are under process on a FIFO basis, first in first out. We are replying to the clients as a lot of requests being received in last fortnight. So the email IDs which we are showing to you, still if you have not received the statement of transaction, if you are wish to get it to submit the claim or you want to verify your statement, you can write it to us on relations@nsdl.co.in and you can get it. Now, what is the another mode? Another mode is electronically through our portal, Ideas portal, internet-based demat account statement, NSDL portal. It is a dedicated portal for investors to log in to view their holding, and they can download the statement of transaction for last 12 months. Now here we are enhancing our system Ideas, which is almost done. We are going to provide service to investor where they can download their past statement of transaction also after this recent incident of Carvi, where investor needs some older or past statement of transaction. So that is almost being done, and shortly we are going to provide that service to investor that they can download the statement prior to 12 months also through our ideas facility. So just to inform, as investor may have question, that a lot of requests or logins are there on our ideas facility in last fortnight, and few people have requested us that they are not able to log in or their password is not working. So for that, ideas facility, it's a purely password based facility where you don't have to give any form or any request to your participant wherever your demat account is there in instant case Carvi. There is a simple procedure for creating your ideas login based on your DPID, client ID, and certain credentials. And by creating a password, you can log into NSDL ideas facility and you can view your statement of holding and download the statement from our ideas facility also. So for getting your statement of transaction, either you can write to us or you can log into our ideas facility and you can download. In addition to that, our mobile app is also there. Through that also you can view your holdings and you can manage your account whenever you are going to transfer it to your another depository participant. Now, to contact NSDL, obviously you can write it to us on our head office address. In addition to that, you can write emails to it at the relations@nsdl.co.in, the dedicated email ID. You can call us on our toll-free number as well as our direct contact numbers, where you can make a request of your concerns. In addition to that, as you might be aware, we have a facility of consolidated account statement which we send to all the investor on a monthly basis if there are transaction, and quarterly basis if there are no transaction. So for cash related queries, if you are receiving your cash and if you have cash which are sent by NSDL, and if any missing cash you want to get it from NSDL, for that we have two dedicated email IDs: nsdl-cash feedback@nsdl.co.in and nsdl-cash complaint@nsdl.co.in for your complaints, queries, any issues which you are facing in your cash statement. The two email IDs we have dedicatedly kept for this, where you can write and approach us for resolution of your queries and requests. So these are the few links or few contact points where you can approach NSDL for your concerns, your issues regarding Carvi or any other services which you are availing as an investor from the perspective of demat account. So apart from this details, as I said, as an investor, you have choice to open your demat account at any new depository participant. In future also, when you open new demat account, myself or my colleague Mr. Amit Jindal will, while taking the Q&A session, will brief you about what are the security measures you should keep in mind, and you can regularly check your statement, SMS alert facility of NSDL, the cash statement which we send to investor on a monthly basis. You should check it regularly. And we promote our mobile app also. Nowadays mobile is very useful to everyone, available with everyone, so you can download NSDL mobile app and you can view, transact through our mobile app also. So all this different kind of platforms we have provided to investors, where as a prudent investor you can avail this facility and make use of it. So with this, I like to open the floor for Q&A and uh, uh, join my colleague Mr. Amit Jindal also for Q&A, and any other issues, whatever you have, you can ask us. And thank you.
Uh, thank you for sharing that, sir. Thanks a lot. So I had a question before we can actually begin with this. So this is
Yeah.
something that we've been receiving a lot from a lot of our members.
Yeah.
It's a little off topic in that sense. It's not directly related to this, but the question is, when you always get an alert when a
Yeah.
share is debited from the account, but not when it is credited. So I've been given to believe that the demat is like a bank account. So shouldn't
Yeah.
there be an alert when you have both a credit and a debit?
Yeah. So see, whenever
So,
you're,
like in the case of credits, yeah. So, in the case when there is a credit, so usually customer is getting the security that it is not a debit, that something that got reduced from his balance. So he's getting some securities, but we have received this advice in the recent past also. So we are working on that, that we can send some mailers to the investor at the time of credit of security also. But presently we are sending only for the debit of securities.
Thank you for that, sir. So I think we had some more questions. So a couple of questions that we have been receiving regularly is about the ideas portal. So a lot of people have had doubts about that. So if you could shed some light on that, that will also be really helpful for us. A lot of people are complaining that
So
their
ideas
ideas
actually,
ID has been.
I am also seeing on the screen that a lot of people, actually, there is no like. I would request all the users, investors, to try it. They can try it right now also while the conference is going on, and see whether they are facing any difficulty. And in case they are facing any difficulty, they can share their user ID with us on the relations@nsdl.co.in, and we will reply to them after checking with our technical team.
Thank you. So I think we can take a couple of questions from the audience also. Mr. Yogesh Jakotia, can you please
Yes, yes.
unmute and ask your question?
Yeah, hello everyone. Hi. I have a question. Like I have a couple of shares in pool account. So how to do with those shares?
So, sir, as I understand, when you say the shares are there in the pool account, it shares were in the stockbroker pool account. So, for that, we request the National Stock Exchange or the Bombay Stock Exchange for the redressal, because they will be in a better position to tell you the whereabouts of the shares. But that's an omnibus account.
Thank you. So I think we can move on to the next person. So I'm going to request all of you to keep your question very precise, and please do not ask the same question on which sirs have given us an explanation. So my request is please keep the question very precise and move on with that.
Arvind,
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry to sort of ask this again, but there's a lot of concern about the pool accounts. So, do you think you'd be able to throw some more light on what has happened? Is this like an illegal pool that they had created? And, I don't think people are getting information from the NSE as yet. So, do you have any suggestions on what people can do? Because this is the biggest concern with the Karvi group, that there were shares in a pool account. What we understood from the CDSL presentation was that no pool account is supposed to exist for more than 24 hours. And if people have shares for years together, then is there, I mean, because you all have all the data at the end of the day, is there something that can be shared to make things easier for investors?
So, like as I understand, what is a pool account? Pool account is an account which is used by the stockbroker for getting the securities for paying from the investors and for making the and then onward transfer to the clearing corporation for paying, and subsequently when the payout is received from the stock exchange from the clearing corporation, the payout is credited to this account, and then from here it onwards transferred to the client demat accounts. So I would recommend to everybody that whenever they buy any security, they should ensure that they get the credit in their demat accounts. If any broker is saying that the shares are lying in pool account, or he is holding the shares on behalf of the client, so that is not a correct process. They should always ensure whenever they buy the securities, it should get credited to their demat account, and it should reflect in their cash, which they get from the depositories on a monthly basis. So they have to see that no share broker, they should not buy this from the stockbroker that I am holding these securities for on your behalf. Because once you have that habit of holding somebody else's assets in your account, there is always misappropriation can happen at that point of time. Once your assets are there in your custody, so then nobody will be able to touch your asset without your consent.
Thank you. That is, can't hear him.
Ma'am, I think there's a lag in his audio. Yeah, can you hear me? Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah,
Oh,
yes.
okay. Yeah. Sorry, ma'am. I think you were asking some questions.
No, I was saying that going forward, this is wonderful and useful information, but any chance that people can get information on past data, or is that on a case by case basis, or they just can't get it?
No, I will not say you can't get it. Actually, as per the limited understanding I have, they are maintaining some record in their back office. Whether the shares are held in one particular account, and the record of the beneficial owner of those shares are maintained in their back office. So exchanges have the possession of the backup of their back offices. So if some investor wants to know that where their shares are, exchange will be in a position to tell that whose shares are lying in that demat account because they are maintaining according to their back
Okay.
office. Yeah.
So basically, only NSC can give that information.
Yes.
Yes.
As a depository, we can tell that how many shares are there in the pool account on a particular day. But who is the actual owner of that security is maintained in the back office of the stockbroker. So as far as that omnibus, we can tell the quantity, but we will not be in a position to tell that who is the beneficial owner of this share. So that information is available with the National Stock Exchange only.
Excellent. I understand. Arvind, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, ma'am. So I'm going to unmute Mr. Srinivas Venigala. So like I mentioned in the beginning, please be very precise with your question and do not repeat the questions. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. So during the part of this presentation, Mr. Vishal told that he will describe the process to transfer the securities from the demat accounts after 31st, after Carvey's suspension takes place. But he did not cover it, or I missed it. Could you please throw some light on that process?
No, yeah, we will throw light. Actually, we are taking up with the if limited by the regulatory authority to for them to close those accounts. So one option is that it will either become a NSDL managed DP. So we will take over that DP. So once we will take over that DP, so then all the requests will be required to be made to NSDL for transfer of security, closure from transfer. And in case the second option is that we can transfer this business to a new DP, a reputed depository stockbroker come depository participant. So all the exchanges and depositories are working on the same. So very shortly, a decision may come, and we will transfer the existing trading and demat accounts of all the investors of Carby to another stockbroker come depository participant. So the investors can be avoided. And if they wish to continue with that new depository participant, they can continue. And if they don't want to go with that new depository participant come stockbroker, so they can close their account and they can move to any other stockbroker depository participant at their wish.
Okay. Mr. Anand Saraya, can you please unmute? Mr. Anand? Okay, I think he's dropped off. Okay, we can move on to the next person, Mr. Amarjot Singh. Mr. Amarjot Singh, can you please unmute and ask your question?
Sir, hello.
Yeah, we can hear you. We are able to hear you.
Sir, what about the funds lying with Carvey Stockbroking, sir?
So actually the funds are in control of National Stock Exchange. So if you have any, you have to write to them for the funds.
Thank you for actually sharing that, sir. So before we can move on to the next question, just a couple of announcements that I wanted to make. So we've already done a series of webinar with the officials from NSE. We've done one with CDSL, and we've also had a securities advocate who came and explained in detail. So I would suggest please not ask questions about those and just stick to NSDL for now. And maybe later on you can check out our YouTube channel Moneylife TV, where all the videos are uploaded. So that should give you a rough idea of all the work that's been happening right now and also all the options that you have in front of you. So again, I'm going to unmute Mr. Chetan Anam, but please do not ask any questions about anything else other than the topic that's here right now. Mr. Chetan, can you please? Okay, I think he's also dropped off. Okay, Mr. Viral.
Yeah, hi. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, sir, I would like
Yes,
to
yes.
know what is the difference between ideas and speed? And my second question is, do you require any approval from the broker for the registration on the website of NSDL? Thank you.
Ideas and Speedy are two softwares. One is for the view purpose. So through Ideas, holding statement and transfer statement can be viewed, but transaction is not permitted. While through Speedy, you can make online transfer of securities to your stockbroker also, to the trusted account of your stockbroker. So that is the difference between Ideas and Speedy. And for registration on Ideas, no approval is required from your stockbroker. So it is available, and even NSDL mobile app is also available, where also the no is stockbroker. You can download the mobile app, and holding and all the other details are available there on the mobile app.
Thank you. So I'm going to unmute Mr. Utkarsh Dhamecha. Mr. Utkarsh, can you please unmute and ask your question?
Hello.
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Yeah, considering that we do not want to move to the broker which you suggest, we already have opened an demat at other depository, and we received the CML, or probably we are going to receive in 2-3 days the CML. So after 31st, we need to approach on the relations at the NSD only, or anywhere else, or any separate other email ID for the transfer of the securities.
So, sir, for that, as soon as we will decide, we will send you a communication on your email ID that what process and where you have to approach and what all documentation are required for the transfer of email account.
Okay. Mr. Sahil Soni.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, sir. My question is not related to Carvi. I'm so sorry. I just saw the title and came in here. My question was related to Fire's brokerage. So recently, a week ago, when market falls badly, I was in a long trade. So when my stop loss hit, I was not able to exit my trade. And after a huge fall, when I was able to exit, I was in a huge losses. And when I talked to the broker, so they told me that this is a default from exchange end. So is these losses I have to suffer, or there is something I can do? Because I was exiting my trade and I was not able to exit my trade, and they told me this is from the exchange end.
Mr. Soni, this has nothing to do with the depository. I don't think you have looked at what the subject is. You posted this on chat as well. But I don't know if they want to help you, but this has absolutely nothing to do with today's topic. Would you like to guide him, Mr. Jindal? Or should we move on?
Yeah, actually, I don't think so. I will be able to help you because it's purely like trade-related query.
That's
I'm not even sure whether it's a broker mistake or or an exchange issue.
That's right. It'll have to be a complaint to the exchange. So, Mr. Soni, you'd like to stock exchange.
Yeah. He can make a complaint to the exchange, and then exchange can tell him that whether this is a broker issue or there was some issue at the end of exchange also.
Correct.
Yeah. I'm going to do the same announcement again. Please do not go out of the topic. Mr. Basil George, can you please unmute and ask your question?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, sir. We can hear you.
See, sir, actually, I am an NRI. I taken this DP long back, DMAT, and I was doing trading, but last 3 years it is not there. But my shares are there in the account. So 31st, after 31st, is there any time limit? Like CDSL or NSDL is having any time limit?
There is no time limit, and no time limit in the sense that if your shares are still there within your payment account, So there is no issue in that. So we will assign this depository business to a new depository participant, which most probably is going to be a reputed entity only. And if you wish to continue with that new entity, it is your wish, you can continue. And within, you will be given a period of 6 months after that, in which if you are like you don't want to continue with new entity and you want to shift to some other entity, you will be permitted to shift to the new entity.
Uh, can Miss Valli Narayanan please unmute?
Yeah, my question is related to ideas. My When I tried to log in, it's saying your ideas is inactive or something. And for another account, I actually have a family of accounts, say like 8 accounts. The other account is saying it's revoked. What do I do in these cases, sir?
So when have you tried, Mr. Valli? Like,
Sorry?
when have you tried to log in into the ideas?
Today, sir. Just now, I tried one account. It's saying DP is inactive.
It is saying DP is inactive.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have taken note of this, and we will see that because of any issue with the deactivity of the Carby, whether there is any impact on ideas, and we will get it today only. So you can try once again after 2-3 hours.
Okay. A lot of people have shared it in the chat, but I think like they mentioned right now, maybe you can try it after a few hours. So they've taken a note of this, and then maybe after later in the evening, you can have a look at the account. So there's another question that somebody shared. Can the broker pledge your shares without your notice, or can the OTP system be skipped? I'm not entirely sure how the question is being framed. Okay, I think he wants to say, can the broker pledge your shares without your notice?
No, in the current new dispensation, August 1st, 2020, for any creation of any pledge for the proposed margin, there is a requirement that the depository will take the OTP from the investor. So I don't think so that any broker will be in a position to create a pledge for margin without the consent of the investor in future.
Okay. Mr. Anand Saraya, can you please unmute? I think we had already tried, but you had dropped off. Mr. Saraya, can you please unmute? Mr. Saraya, we're not able to hear your voice. Hello. Okay, I think Mr. Saraya is again on mute. We can move on to the next person, Mr. Chetan Anam. Mr. Chetan, can you please unmute?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yesterday only I had been to Andheri Karvi. They gave me my demat statement, but not my ledger. I have stopped. Doing transaction with Karvi since last many years. So last balance, what is there? They are not giving. They said last 1 year you have not done anything, so you don't have anything. I want to know how can I get the ledger balance, etc. Demat statement.
You can approach exchange, and exchange will be in a position to tell you your ledger balance and arrange the ledger for National Stock Exchange.
Okay. Miss Janu, can you please unmute?
Hello.
John, yeah, hi, we can hear you.
I have quick 3 questions. One is, if the existing account is from NSDL, like Carvi NSDL, is it needed that the target new account should be of NSDL only, or it can be CDSL also? Number 1. Number 2, if in case any DP charges.
Also.
Okay, awesome. And number 2, if any DP charges are due, from the Carvi, we are not aware, and even we try to settle it, it's not working. So how we could understand that there are no DP charges, or DP charges doesn't matter at all for the transfer? And number 3, can I send the soft copy of a CML and transfer form to your email address, or still need to send hard copies to Carvi address?
So actually, that will depend upon the process that Carvi is following right now. And if I suppose your target account is in NSDL only, so there is a possibility of a system validation. So it will be easier for Carby to identify you and for making the transfer. But if it is a CDSL account, then CML will be required by Carby.
Mr. Ramesh Patwardhan, can you please unmute and ask your question?
Yeah, I have a joint account and one of the account holders has expired. So in that case, I am not able to complete all these formalities.
No, so you can open the account if there are more than one, and along with the death certificate and transmission form, the transfers will get transferred to your the new name.
Okay. Mr. Anand Deshpande, can you please unmute?
Hello, can you hear?
Yeah, we can hear you.
This is regarding the pool accounts done a lot of illegal transactions by Carby, maybe for the last 1 year, 2 years, 4 years also. To get this one, the DMAT transactions or NSDL, this one, is it possible to get the statements as a backup statements? Claim for the pool account shares.
Of NSDL or pool account? No, actually pool account belongs to Carby.
Yes, yes.
No,
yes.
so you are talking about your DMAT account or Carby's DMAT account?
My DMAT account.
So for your DMAT account, you can write to us on relations@nsdl.co.in, and we will be able to provide you a statement for whatever years you want. We will provide you the statement.
I think there's some misunderstanding here because they seem to think that their shares are in a pool account. I thought you explained that it's not possible, right? So I think this question is the same, Mr.
Yes.
Jindal. He seems to think that his shares in the pool account, he can get that information. But you're saying it's, it's a Carby pool account and that information can't be shared, right?
Yes, and actually they will not be able to make out whether the shares belong to them or not, because the record of that shares was maintained in the back office of the car.
Correct.
Madam, but one thing here I'd like to add from investor perspective, if an investor has some share which is as purchased from Carby as a broker, this investor would have their contract notes. So instead of now chasing and discussing the pool account, which as Mr. Jindal said, that it's a common pool account, omnibus account maintained by Carby for pay in and payout. So from investor perspective, say some investor access there, he want to know the status of his security. So if he has purchased, say, securities of 5 companies and he has a contract note, so what he need to do is he has to obtain a statement of DMAT account. If it is credited in his DMAT account, then it is available in his DMAT account. If it is not credited is in DMAT account, he can take that contract notes and he can approach the stock exchanges, NSE, BSE, that I have purchased this share. This is statement I have obtained from depository. My DMAT account is not credited, and he can claim this share. So this pool account saga which we are discussing, madam, it's nothing. It's a common pool account where Carby used to keep share for pay in and payout. So for all the answers or question which are raised by investor, you need to do one thing, that whatsoever securities you have purchased over the period of time, you take a statement from NSDL or Carby and you just reconcile. If these securities which you have purchased are not appearing in your DMAT account, with the contract note, you can approach stock exchanges and claim that security. So pool account is nothing. It's a common account. You have to take care of your investment share which you have purchased. If it is not appearing in DMAT account, you would have contract notes. You just see it and you can claim it through the stock exchange.
Excellent. I think that's very, very useful, Mr. Gajjar. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Mr. Saraya has typed his question in the chat. His question is, if a transaction has been done, why is it not being displayed on NSDL or on CDSL? So he's shared a follow-up to that, saying that he has purchased shares, but it's not displayed in either of the platforms.
So as I said just now, that if you have purchased certain securities, if it is not credited to your DMAT account, then you have to approach to stock exchanges with your contract note or money, whatever is debited from your bank account or you have paid to the Carvi, that I have paid say such X amount for purchasing of this X securities. It is not credited in my demat account. So stock exchanges will able to clarify based on your trading account code, UCC code, that whatever transactions taken place in your trading account, whether it is credited or not, and if it is not credited, then you have to make a claim and complain with stock exchange.
Thank you for that, sir. Mr. Rajesh Madan, can you please unmute? Mr. Rajesh Madan?
I think he has a question on fair wealth securities. He's posted it here. I think we should talk for minutes.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this is regarding fair wealth securities. These shares were lying in this demat account for last 10 years. They withdrew it just before closing down, and they must have siphoned off the funds. Now the claim which we sent to NSC has been rejected that on some grounds. What do you think? I mean, because I can't place my contract notes. I can't I can't recall where my contract notes are. But the shares were there for last 10 years and then they just withdrew it from my demat account and they fled. What should I do? Thanks.
May I ask, how do you know that the shares were, I mean, you have the shares and you've not sold them. If you don't have the data, then why do you assume they were lying with fair wealth securities?
They were in my NSDL demat account for last 10 years. And then, and then they withdrew it. They took it in their pool account. They must have got that agreement signed when they opened the account. So they withdrew it and they took it in their pool account and sold it off. So my query is that if the shares have been in the account for last 10 years, that should be evidence of my ownership.
No, again, to my understanding, you have the data from NSDL. I think you'll have to file a complaint with the National Stock Exchange. And I don't think our speakers today would be able to answer that, but I'm going to ask them, do you want to clarify a little more about what he can possibly do?
So as far as I understand that they will have to approach exchange only. He has to approach exchange only.
Okay. Let's move on.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Udit Agarwal, can you please unmute? Mr. Udit Agarwal?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
In fact, the issue is again about the Carvi, and they have pledged my shares in 2019, and that is without my consent. I have complained to NSE also, and I got the response. They say that part of the shares have been transferred in my account, but I have not received anything. So what can I do in that case?
So you can they have replied to you that a part of shares has already been credited to your account.
Mr. Agarwal, you'll have to unmute yourself again.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Yeah, you were saying that
there are 10-12 shares, out of which 2 shares I have received back, but 2-3 scripts I have received back, but the balance scripts are not yet been received. And NSE says that they are in the process of transferring that. But the time of 6-7 months have already been passed. I have not received anything.
okay, so then you can whatever. Okay, so if NSE is saying that they will credit to your demat account, they will credit to your demat account. You can again remind them once again with the whatever communication you have received from them, and that they have promised to credit the securities, so they will credit it.
Thank you for that, sir. Ms. Chitra, can you please unmute? Miss Chitra. Okay, I think she's not here. Mr. Chandan, can you please unmute? Mr. Chandan.
Yes. Hello. I have one quick question. Is there any self-service option on NSDL website to transfer our shares to a new demat account? Something similar to what is available in CDSL, easiest feature.
So you want to transfer shares. So actually in NSDL, presently there is no system for transferring, doing off-market transfer online.
Okay.
Okay. I think we'll just take one final question. Mr. Rangarao, can you please unmute? Mr. Rangarao?
Good evening, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
I want one question. My shares are held up with pool account of Carway. They are telling.
Mr. Rangarao, we lost you in the middle.
Hello?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What about the shares held up with the Carway's pool account and the procedure to follow?
So it appears that you all are not listening to the answers that have been given because there are repeated questions about the pool account. I think both our speakers have elaborately explained what can be done. The pool account has a bunch of shares. You won't know which they are. You have to take your contract notes. Mr. Gajjar gave a very elaborate answer on this. I think you will now need to listen to the recording of this program once again in order to get the answer, because the answer is the same for everybody who is asking about pool account. One last question, Arvind, and then we stop.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Mr. Rajat Jindal, can you please unmute and ask your question?
Sure. Thank you. One thing I wanted to just say was that I am also trying to log into ideas, and I'm also getting the message DP status is inactive, and that's been happening for the last 3-4 days. I've been trying. My question is, I have two questions, please. One question is that how can we prevent this kind of an activity in the future, since we give a POA to the to the broker? How can we prevent them from selling our shares that are in the demat account right now? I'm not talking about pool account. From the demat account, how can we prevent any unauthorized transfer? Is there anything to prevent that? And I'm sorry, my second question is, I'm purchasing mutual funds through Carvi. I think it's their separate unit. I'm purchasing that, and they are going into my demat account, which account was already with Carvi, right? So my mutual funds are going into that account. Now, if I want to transfer all of my holdings to another demat account, which I've opened in the NSDL through another broker, if I want to transfer those shares, should I first stop the buying of that mutual fund and then do the transfer? What should I do? I wanted some guidance there, please. Thank you.
Yeah. So on your first question, so I will take your second question first regarding you. So I would recommend you that for your mutual fund, first you stop using the Carby Demat account and you provide the details of your new Demat account. So once you stop getting new credit in this account, then it will be easy for you to transfer the holding to the new Demat account. Otherwise, what will happen? The credit will keep on coming in this Carby Demat account, and you will not be able to shift to the new Demat account. So firstly, you should stop taking credit in the Carby Demat account and shift those new credits to the new Demat account. And after that, you can close this account and transfer to the new Demat account. And your first question was how this can be prevented in future. So actually, there are SEBI is taking few more steps to prevent any such issue in future. So, like for the purpose of margin, earlier securities were moving from the client account to the collateral account of the stockbroker. So, with margin players, they have already stopped it, and now SEBI is considering to introduce some new controls for the purpose of paying payout. So hopefully once they are in place, so the chances of your stockbroker misusing your POA is very less. But till that time, you just keep seeing that whatever SMSs you are receiving from NSDL, that whether if there is any debit and debit is without your permission or without your authority, then you have to take up with your stockbroker immediately.
Yeah, and just to add that, sir, that for this, all the investors who are raising these issues, that you should regularly check your demat account holdings. It is available on our mobile app also, and the combined account statement regularly sent by NSDL. So it is pertinent to note that it is directly sent by NSDL, not by your broker. So, or investors should prudently check their holdings and their demat account. And as we have seen a lot of accounts about pool account, whenever you purchase the security, just ensure that it is credited to your demat account. And as Mr. Jindal said, SEBI has also taken a lot of steps. Now, there is a CUSA account where securities are compulsorily need to be transferred to the investor's account. So these are recent changes from regulatory side. Now, from investor point of view, also you have to be prudent and regularly check your demat account. Cash is sent by NSDL. You can download our mobile app and statement which you receive from depository participant. And just to add that a lot of questions I'm able to see in chat box about Fair Wealth and Anugrah also. So just to answer that, Fair Wealth and Anugrah both are depository participant of CDSL. So investor can raise their issue with CDSL that as they are the depository participant of CDSL.
Uh, thank you for that, sir. I think with this we can now close the session. So I think I just wanted to take this chance to thank both our speakers for joining in on such short notice. In fact, like I mentioned in the beginning, we put this together yesterday, and they very kindly consented to speak today, and they've shed light on a lot of issues they've mentioned, and they've gone through all the processes involved. So we are really thankful to you. And I also wanted to take this chance to thank Nageshwar Rao sir, the MD and CEO of NSDL, for very quickly responding to us and also helping us put this together. So a huge thank you from all our members and on behalf of our team. So thank you both of you, and thank you all for attending the session as well. Thank you.